Okay, trying to make this with natural sunlight and the kiddos home from school this week. Schools are unexpectedly closed because in this whole state there have been high incidences of, well, the flu that people are getting this year apparently is not the one that they predicted with the vaccines. So people are getting the flu who have been vaccinated, inoculated, and also there's a lot of norovirus going around. So our school system, our county had about 140 teachers absent on Monday, and they've been watching the rest of the state get taken out by this, so school's closed this week. So the kiddo's home. You might hear him coughing, and you might hear him making happy sounds or yelling at videos or whatever, because he's my kid. Anyway, so some odds and ends of things from last week. One of the things I did was I painted over Tiffany Taylor's eyes to be brown, and I made her eyeshadow green. And I keep forgetting to flip the camera around so I can actually see if I have things in place where the camera is actually picking them up. I do have videos on my Flickr, and there will be a link. There's always a link. So I like her a lot more. You know, I like dolls with brown eyes. And yeah, I'm not super fond of blonde hair, but this hair is so nice for a doll this age that I'm still going to leave it for now, even though it is everywhere and it gets stuck in her gigantic eyelashes. But, so brown-eyed, green eyeshadowed Tiffany Taylor. And that Disney Palace Pets, thank you for identifying it, blue cat that I thrifted last week. I did get the head apart. I was able to pry it open from the bottom, and the pieces still mate together fairly well. So I will be able to use this in a doll, for a doll head eventually. I can just use plastic weld or other adhesives to get it put together. I will have to route out, enlarge the neck opening, and I am pretty sure I'm going to use it on a Barbie-sized body, and especially this one. This is another one of these I thrifted last week. I didn't notice when I got her, when I took her dress off, both of her thighs are very cracked. It doesn't impact the way the articulation feels. It still feels very solid. They're not floppy at all. But I am thinking I will probably sculpt onto this body, maybe try to make it a little more curvy sized. I'm not sure. And since it'll be covered with epoxy putty, that means I will have to paint it. Don't think I will make it blue. I don't think I'll leave this head blue and then paint the body to match, because although I do like the glittery aspect, blue is not really my color. So I will probably, who knows what color this whole thing will end up being, but eventually maybe I will have a plush blue cat lady. And if you remember, the tail from this was pink fake fur, and I looked at it and I said maybe I'll be able to turn it into hair for a doll using that method I've adapted from those, the Dream Dolls books. So not enough there to make a beehive or bouffant, but enough to make a nice little punky sort of cotton candy look. There is some polyfill in this. This is not all just doll head and fake fur. But yeah, there was just enough of it to go around this Leah/Kayla sculpt. This is from the Pale Made to Move, from the first wave of Made to Moves. I don't remember the shirt colors, sorry. But it's the Leah/Kayla sculpt, and you might be able to see I did stuff with her face paint too. Again, pictures on Flickr. I'm not swirling her around and showing side to side because I had someone say that makes them a little bit seasick, and I respect that. I don't want to make people nauseous while watching my videos because I'm moving the dolls weird. So hopefully I can do better on that. Anyway, what I did to her is I painted over the details in her eyes, so that was all whited out, and then I painted the eyes looking to the side with some brown iris and white light reflections. And then I added a lot of extra lashes. Like I said, I did not take off her original paint, I just painted over it. I painted over her brows, so they went from kind of brown to gray. Also in the eyes I put the line of pink under them. I saw someone do their very first Monster High custom that had a lot of red under the eyes, and I kind of liked that look. So this is a more restrained version of that. I added blush with a pastel. And the reason I decided not to paint this whole thing green before putting the pink hair on is because when I was messing around with it, I really liked the way this pink looked with her stock lip color. So I took my Liquitex pink, which is what's under her eyes, and I just added a little bit of a line to the side of her mouth, drawing it out to make her a little smirkier than stock. And then I used red to draw a line in the center for a little bit of contrast. And she has a very different personality from the stock made to move head. And boy did I pull a lot of glue out when I took out her original hair, but it was actually, I think it's because it was a little bit cold. The glue tended to be kind of a more coherent lump, and I got it out with a lot less anger than usually happens when trying to remove a glue head. So, there's this doll. I did the head, I put her on the live body. I actually like her on the live body, I like her on the smaller body. The match is not perfect. I mean, she just happens to be wearing the scarf because when I dressed her, I just started layering on everything to have a texture or a print or something different from, so you have stripes and camouflage and plaid and more stripes. But then there's the big white action figure jacket. This is also a combination of action figure Barbie, homemade Bratz, homemade action figure stuff. So, and off-brand. I'm pretty sure this tiara is off-brand. I got that at the swap a few weeks ago. So anyway, this doll is just a lot of fun to put together, completely silly, and her name is Xingren. Xingren. I'm sorry I'm mutilating Chinese. It means, I didn't want to do the stereotypical Japanese name her Sakura because of the pink hair for the cherry blossom. So I kind of went off looking at other related blossoms, and I thought about the almond blossom, and I looked it up, and this is just how my mind works. I thought it was funny that apparently there's a controversy in China a few years ago when they found out that what they thought were apricot pits were actually almonds. They didn't want almonds because those weren't the right kind of folk medicine. So they got angry when they found out that their giant American apricot pits were actually almonds. So that just, for this doll being a hodgepodge of all these different parts that you wouldn't expect, and then having almonds be something that someone didn't expect, I thought that worked. So that's kind of how I name dolls. Although really, honestly, I just name them so I can give them distinct file names that I might have a chance of finding again. Again, this is how my brain works. Anyway, and another thing I did was that dress that I got in the swap. I trimmed all the loose threads, I added a snap in the back, I stitched down where the hem was rolling up at the top, although there is a necklace in the way now. And I restitched the sleeve that was coming off. And obviously, Nichelle Valentine got to wear it, and I really, really like this dress. It is just, it shouldn't work, but it does. It's like I always say, if you sew it together, it goes together, and I think this is a great example of that. And for whatever reason, I decided I wanted her to have blue accessories, because why not? So, happy with this dress, happy with this swap. Thanks again. Then I got sidetracked over the weekend. No reason at all. I pulled a bunch of leftovers from fat quarters and quarter yards out of my doll cloth that were kind of in a pink and green range of print colors, and I just very randomly made this. It's not terribly big. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but it's fun. I know I showed that a month or so ago. I made another similar, completely random thing with smaller pink, green, and I think blue from my scrap box. So these are obviously bigger. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know if I can add more to it without it obvious that it's not the colors I started with.
Hi. Bye.
I'm trying not to be in a bad mood today because my period started and I've been super cranky lately. So, I'm trying to be calm and not angry. So anyway, I owe people doll sewing, but instead I've been sewing this thing. And another doll sewing that I owe is for a surprise box that came. I picked it up from the post office on Monday. I was contacted by someone and said, "Hey, I'm clearing out doll stuff. Would you like it?" I said, "Well, only if I can make some doll clothes for you in return." And so I got the box, and I'm not going to show you everything because there's so much stuff in it. It was amazing. Thank you so much. I'm still not sure if you want your name shared. And I think I've explained before, whenever people trade me nice things or give me things, I hesitate to share your name because I don't want people to start hitting you up for free stuff. I do share John's name, but partly because he's in Australia, and hitting him up for free stuff is going to get involved nasty postage, and he's going to say no. And so, again, my brain works like this, and I am not thinking well these last few days. Anyway, so that's another person I owe clothes, and I don't have everything to show. There were some cute repaints, and well, this half-started custom of a Bratz torso and a toy horse body that they were just loosely together. I went ahead and epoxy puttied them together, and so this was in the box. Although we kind of agree that the proportions seem a little odd, I think what I'm going to do, let me see the just epoxy putty globbed on there. It's not painted or feathered in or anything yet. What I think I'm going to do is maybe put a smaller head on this Bratz body, on the horse body, and then pilfer some of this hair to root onto that head to make it match the tail that's there already. And then I will put this Bratz head on a live body to match that I have and repaint it. I'm really not sure if it's just that the proportions seem off, and there is a picture of her on my Flickr, or if it's that this Bratz face just doesn't appeal to me. So this is one of the things in the box. And there were some things in the box that I've already sent off to other people who collect them more than I do. Again, with permission of the person who sent it, they know they could have sorted things out and had a sale and had eBay, but I know what it's like not to want to jewel stuff. And I'm rambling again, aren't I? And did I mention the headache? Trying to be positive, but if I seem more incoherent than normal, it's not, my positivity isn't working. And other things in the box. It's for some random doll clothes, which, like this skirt, I think way back, this came out, what, about 2003 or 4? I think everybody who did Barbie stuff then had this skirt, and this jacket was in there. I don't recognize this jacket. I'm not even sure if it's 4/6 scale, but I like the slouchy look on her. So I think that I had everything else she's wearing was mine to be with, and I had this shirt for ages, and it came out I think around the same time as this, even though this is Joe Boxer. It was Kmart exclusive, compatible with a 12-inch fashion doll, but not technically Barbie clothes. So I gave her this cute little pastel outfit. And then another thing that was in the box that I thought was just hilarious because the memory was this jacket. And I don't know what this jacket is from. Yes, it is genuine Barbie. But I immediately recognized this metallic print that it's made from was from the Mattel MC Hammer fashion sold separately outfits, because I'm pretty sure I had this because they were in Big Lots for really cheap. And the sun's behind a cloud. But then this has all these metallic and iridescent trims all over it. It's just wonderfully tacky. But I don't know, was this a fashion pack? Was this on a doll? Does anybody recognize this? Because I'm curious. And it's very dark. I still see blue sky, so hopefully the clouds will move. And another thing that was in the box was the early 80s Dolls of the World Paris Parisian Barbie head with the Steffi sculpt, which this is a doll. When I was little, I actually didn't know she existed, and I got older and started learning about dolls, and she was been one that I've been curious about forever, just because the Steffi sculpt and the green eyes. I don't think I have a picture of this yet up on Flickr, because I have a body for her, but she's being used temporarily by another head, which I'll get to in a moment. Anyway, her face is actually very unexpected design for an 80s Barbie. I have no idea if you could see that, but there's detail in her eyes and the pupils are off center, and there's green eyeliner, and it's just kind of wild. And another thing about this that I didn't expect is she actually has short hair in the center with the longer stuff around. But it's interesting to have this doll. This would have been something from my youth if I'd known about it. I always thought she was cool, so that was in the box. Another thing that was in the box that I had never seen before and had to look up was this Sakura Wars action figure. And that's a lot of leg. I'm really curious to see what this body is like. I have not stripped her down yet because I wanted to show her the whole doll for this video, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to get these off of her feet without boiling them to make them much softer. And I've already accidentally popped her wrist out of the... It's not a wrist peg, it's a wrist sphere that just goes into a receptacle. So I've accidentally already popped that out. So I have a feeling she's going to be really challenging to undress. But again, super long legs, and they are double hinged. Her arms are single hinged. Again, because the wrist is a ball and socket, it actually has a really interesting range of motion. Soft vinyl torso, and she's 13 inches tall. So again, this is very interesting, and it makes me remember the days way back when you could get all sorts of odd action figures, just because that's what the market was no standardization, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you get things like this that are very unique. And then I said I had a body for this head, but it was being used by another head for the moment, and that would be this fantastic craft pig head. It was on a piece of wire. It said Gestia made in Japan. I've had Gestia craft doll heads before. Although I think the one I had before was smaller than this. You see, it has kind of pose doll style paint, but unlike a pose doll, this is plastic all the way around. If you've ever had a pose doll or taken a pose doll apart, you know, this just the face. Everything else is styrofoam. Although this is styrofoam up here under this faux fur. And she's only temporarily on this Fashionista's body because I have ordered, and it's shipped, and it should be here Friday, well, to the post office box Friday, a 14-inch Jackie Evancho doll body. It's a, basically it's a knockoff of Moxie Teens bodies. And yes, all you people with your larger doll bodies are getting to me also. Having this larger doll has made me think, yeah, I guess I could do odd size larger dolls. So we'll have this, I think with the head on a 14-inch body, she's going to be pretty tall. But it was sort of ruefully that I placed the order for the, and it was only like $12 shipped for the Evanco doll body because I got one for $5 in Toys R Us years ago, and the body moved on to What If Chris. It became his She-Hulk. And then the head recently moved on as part of another custom. And then a year or so ago, I thrifted that doll, the Jackie Evanco doll body. With, well, not just the body, had the head. And I sold all of that on eBay because I knew to put in the title that she's just like Moxie Teen's body. Because I have a feeling if Moxie Teens people were more aware of that body, they wouldn't be $12 shipped on eBay like most of them are. So order that, and then we will have a larger doll with a huge head with a bouffant. I thought briefly maybe even of peeling this fake fur off and gluing on one of the other colors I have, like the pink or purple. But her eyes really are this 1970s sort of avocado, harvest gold, burnt orange color palette that work well with this color. And I think that's it. I think I've run out of things to say. There were a lot more things in the doll box, a lot of bodies and heads and stuff that I will use some other time. But for now, that's all I have to ramble about this week. I hope I was coherent. I hope it wasn't too cranky. But that's what I hope for all my videos.